Did you know aging isn't about time passing? Research shows what we call aging is really just losing movements we stopped doing. Your body doesn't break down because you turned 40 or 50. It breaks down because you stopped moving like humans were designed to move. The 5 movements I'm about to show you are patterns your body was built to perform. They take 20 minutes, no equipment, and they reverse what most people accept as aging. Ever notice how hard it is to get up off the floor without using your hands? I used to think that was just part of getting older. There's one movement that changed everything for me: the sit to rise. And no, it's not just another exercise. It's a test of whether your body can still move the way it was designed to. We've been told that needing help to get up is normal as we age. But what if that's exactly why so many people lose independence? Here's how it works. You sit on the floor in any comfortable position. Cross-legged works for most people. Then you stand up using as little hand support as possible. Your goal is to eventually stand without hands. Studies show that people who can get up from the floor without hand support have a dramatically lower risk of early death. One major study found this movement is one of the strongest predictors of mortality in middle-aged and older adults. This movement tests your mobility, balance, coordination, and strength all at once. When you can move from the ground to standing smoothly, your hips are mobile, your core is stable, and your body can coordinate complex movements. Most people lose this ability in their 30s or 40s, not because their bodies failed, but because they stopped practicing it. If you sit in chairs all day, you lose the patterns needed to get off the ground. That loss shows up as stiffness, poor balance, and what people accept as aging. Focus on engaging your core, keeping your weight centered, and moving smoothly. If getting down or up feels impossible, start with a low bench. Practice sitting and standing from that height. Over time, lower the height until you can work from the floor. Do this 3 to 5 times, twice per week. As you improve, use less hand support each time. Think about how children play on monkey bars without even thinking about it. Then somewhere along the way, most adults completely lose the ability to do this. But what if our shoulders got tight because we stopped hanging? That brings us to the second movement, the active dead hang. This movement does something special. It creates space between your vertebrae, relieving pressure on your spinal discs, and it opens up your shoulders and improves your posture in ways that stretching alone never could. You grab a pull-up bar with both hands, let your feet come off the ground, and actively engage your shoulders. That's it. But once you try it, you'll understand why this matters. When you hang, your spine decompresses, every disc gets space, your shoulders stretch and strengthen in a range most people never access. Your grip improves, and the research on grip strength and longevity is clear. Your core engages for stability, your thoracic spine extends, your lats lengthen in ways sitting at a desk never allows. Most shoulder problems stem from lack of overhead movement. We spend our lives with arms down or in front of us, typing, driving, eating. Our shoulders adapt to that limited range. Hanging reverses it. To do it, find a pull-up bar or any sturdy overhead bar. Jump up or step up to grab the bar with both hands, palms facing away. Let your feet come off the ground. Now engage your shoulders. Pull your shoulder blades down and back slightly. Don't just hang limp. This is active. You should feel your upper back and shoulders working. Start with 10 to 20-second holds. If you can't hold that long, hold as long as you can with good form. Rest, repeat for 3 to 4 sets. Work up to 30 seconds, then 45, then 60 seconds. If full hanging is too difficult, keep your feet lightly touching the ground while still engaging your shoulders. We've been sitting in chairs for decades, and our bodies have completely forgotten how to squat properly. There was a time when squatting was as natural as standing. Now most people can't hold the position for more than a few seconds without falling backward. It's called the deep squat hold, and it's one of the most important positions humans were designed to hold. Here's exactly how to do it. Stand with feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Turn your toes out slightly. Now squat down as low as you comfortably can while keeping your heels flat. Your goal is to get your hips below your knees. At the bottom, your torso stays relatively upright, your knees track over your toes, your weight stays centered through your whole foot. This position does something most exercises can't. It opens your hips, stretches your ankles, decompresses your spine, and forces your core to stabilize. Research shows cultures where people still squat regularly have lower rates of hip and knee problems as they age, all while teaching your body a natural resting position humans used for thousands of years. It restores mobility patterns, modern life erased, and it reminds your joints how they were designed to move. If you can't squat all the way down, hold on to something stable for balance. A door frame works perfectly. Use your arms to support some weight as your hips and ankles adapt. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds to start. You'll feel your hips opening, your ankles stretching, and your core working to keep you stable. Work up to 2 to 3 minutes. Practice daily if possible. Most people bend forward at their lower back to pick things up. Over time, that pattern creates back pain, disc problems, and what people call a bad back. That brings us to the fourth movement, the hip hinge. You push your hips back, keep your spine neutral, and let your torso tilt forward from your hips, not your lower back. Here's why this matters. Every time you pick something up, tie your shoes, or lean forward, you're either reinforcing a healthy pattern or grinding away at your lower back. Most people round their spine because they've never learned the hinge. To do it, stand with feet hip-width apart. Place your hands on your hips. Now push your hips back like you're trying to close a car door with your butt. As your hips push back, your torso will tilt forward. Keep your spine neutral the entire time. You should feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Your knees can bend slightly, but the movement comes from your hips. Drive back up by pushing your hips forward, not lifting with your back. The hinge protects your spine by loading your hips and hamstrings instead of your lower back. It builds strength in your posterior chain, and the research on proper hinging and back pain is clear. If you're not sure your back is staying neutral, practice in front of a mirror. Your spine should maintain its natural curve throughout. Practice 10 to 15 reps, 3 to 4 times per week. Once the pattern feels natural, add light weight. When was the last time you actually ran as fast as you could? Not jogging, full speed. That's what sprinting is. And for most adults, the answer is years or even decades. Humans were built to sprint, and losing that ability is a major part of what we call aging. Sprinting forces your body to move explosively in ways modern life never demands. Research shows that sprint training improves cardiovascular health more effectively than steady cardio. Studies found that sprinting increases growth hormone production, which declines dramatically with age. Other research shows that maintaining the ability to sprint is one of the strongest markers of healthy aging. Here's what happens when you sprint. Your fast-twitch muscle fibers activate. These fibers are responsible for power and speed. In most adults, they atrophy because they're never used. Your nervous system fires rapidly to coordinate explosive movement. Sprinting also forces your body to produce energy anaerobically, which improves metabolic flexibility. Your heart works at near maximum capacity, strengthening it in ways jogging never can. Your entire body adapts to demands modern life stop placing on it. Most people stop sprinting in their 20s or 30s and wonder why they feel slow and weak later. The ability to move fast doesn't disappear because of age. It disappears because of disuse. If you haven't sprinted in years, start conservatively. Find a flat, open area with good footing. Warm up thoroughly, walk for 5 minutes, then do dynamic stretches. Leg swings, walking lunges, and high knees work well. Then do a few build-up runs. Start at 50% of your max speed and gradually increase to 70 or 80% over 30 to 40 meters. Once warm, sprint at 80 to 90% effort for 20 to 30 meters. Walk back slowly. Start with 4 to 6 reps. Don't go all out on your first session. Your muscles and tendons need time to adapt to the explosive demand of sprinting. Over 4 to 6 weeks, gradually increase your effort level and distance. Sprint once or twice per week. That's enough to maintain the adaptation without overloading your body. Rest for at least 2 to 3 minutes between sprints. This isn't cardio training, it's power training. Full recovery between efforts is essential. So you know the 5 movements. Now how do you use them? You don't need hours of training. 2 to 3 sessions per week is enough to maintain these movements and reverse decline. For the sit to rise, practice 3 to 5 reps twice per week. Focus on using less hand support over time as your strength and balance improve. The active dead hang should be 3 to 4 sets, holding 10 to 60 seconds depending on your current ability. Do this twice per week to build shoulder health and mobility. With the deep squat hold, aim for 1 to 3 holds of 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Practice daily if possible. It's a position your body can handle frequently. The hip hinge should be 10 to 15 reps, 3 to 4 times per week. Once solid, add light weight for 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 controlled reps. Sprinting should be once or twice per week, 4 to 8 sprints of 20 to 40 meters with full recovery between each effort. Always warm up thoroughly before you sprint. If you're starting out, do the sit to rise, deep squat hold, and hip hinge 3 times per week. Add the dead hang and sprinting once you feel comfortable with the foundational patterns. The key is consistency. These aren't just exercises, they're a complete system based on how humans were designed to move for longevity and healthy aging. These movements work together seamlessly. Each one supports and reinforces the others. Modern life eliminated these fundamental movement patterns. Chairs replaced squatting, cars replaced sprinting. We stopped hanging and stopped hinging to lift things. Bring these movements back and you're restoring what your body needs. Share this video with someone who you think would benefit from it.